Unless you have a good handle on your classroom management, teaching is going to be very difficult. So in this video, I'll share with you 5 of the most important, the key components of classroom management that you could work on as an educator to make sure things go smoothly this year. My name is Rosanna Hernandez, and this is the Efficiency and Organization YouTube channel. This is where I share information about having everything organized, everything decluttered, and just in general being well planned and well managed with time so you can achieve more in your life and in your career. Now, because I was a teacher, a classroom teacher for a number of years, and I'm still serving in public education as an assistant principal, I thought this would be a good topic for me to elaborate on. So early on in my career as a teacher, I realized the key important thing that has to do with classroom management. And unfortunately, in a lot of our credentialing programs, this doesn't come up. They don't spend anywhere near as much time helping us with classroom management as we need. And so that's why in my first year, I struggled tremendously in this area. And you know how it is, from struggle, you tend to get more confidence, you learn skills and steps and strategies. And so that's why I figured, you know what, maybe I could share some of those with you here. So the very first thing to keep in mind is the organized processes when the kids are entering and exiting the room. Yes, that's where it starts. So you have to rehearse everything in your mind. The more time you spend planning and preparing, the better for you. Just think of it as planning a party. How do the guests come in? What do they do as soon as they come in? Where do you want them to sit? Where do you want them to go to use the restroom? Where would the drinks be? So all these things, the better planned parties are the ones that the guests leave feeling happy, right? It's the same thing with teaching. So every minute could be rehearsed, every minute could be planned out well in advance. So starting with how the kids are going to enter and how they're going to exit the classroom. If you have a habit of standing at the door greeting students, that's perfect. But the thing I notice with a lot of teachers is they're standing on this side. So you have to have eyes inside and outside. Okay, so I would suggest standing by the door in a way where you could see what's happening here and you can also see what's happening there. Don't let the kids be unwatched at any point. And also, upon entry, you want to make sure you have already what they need to do. So I used to have a little cabinet by my classroom door, and the kids got the hang of it. As soon as they come in, they had to pick up whatever I had for them to grab. On my board, I had the agenda, so they knew this is what's supposed to happen first, this is what's supposed to happen second. And as soon as the bell would ring, I'd go, that's it, let's go, let's go, let's go. It had to be very well, the transition from the bell ringing to kids working was very quick. And so pay attention to those, how the kids from the very beginning, how they're going to enter and what they need to do. It has to be organized. Next is the lesson plan. Okay, so the lesson plan itself needs to be well timed and needs to be done. It doesn't appear as though you're winging it. So in other words, you can't just say, well, you know what, I'll just have them do this worksheet for 30 minutes. That's not really planning and preparing in advance. What you want to do is have in your mind, okay, what am I going to say with these practice problems that I'm going to assign? As they're practicing, what am I going to do? And so all those things, the better, and also time it where you're not giving the kids a little too much time in their hands. So this is a big mistake a lot of teachers make. Kids nowadays are trained to get instant gratification. Kids nowadays are trained to have, unfortunately, a very short attention span. So your job is to try to see what you can do to keep their attention going. If you have a worksheet for them to do, that's fine if they're going to practice, but you have to keep in mind that you have to walk around the classroom and keep proximity, which is the third thing about classroom management that you need to know. Keep your proximity and also transition to another activity maybe after 15-20 minutes. Don't let them stay on it for longer than that because they will lose interest. They will try to find other things to do. If you don't let them, if you say, nope, I'm going to make sure you sit there and you work, guess what? Some of your difficult kids will become defiant with you. It's going to be a battle of it's me versus you. I don't want to do this anymore. They're not going to articulate that, but their behaviors will start to exhibit that. How about if you tell them instead of doing 10 problems on a worksheet, they could do 5? Then the other problems that you want them to practice, make an activity out of them. Take the worksheet, cut up the problems, put them in like some kind of a Ziploc bag and say, okay, we're going to play a game. You pull out a card, you solve it. As soon as you solve, raise your hand, I'll take a look. Make it like, it's still the same problems, but because it's done differently, it's like a little bit more playful, and you'll have their attention longer. Fourth one is transitions. So you want to make sure in between your activities, it's like you rehearse in advance in your mind how you're going to get them to transition. Don't expect the kids to know what they're supposed to do. Just assume they don't know, and you have to explain it to them. So let's say you had them do 5, or they had to answer 3 questions on a worksheet for you, or go on Google Classroom, answer 3 questions for you. Great. What are you going to do right before majority are done? Or what are you going to do with the kids who finish early? So have those things kind of planned out in advance. What would you like them to do? Because if you don't articulate it, then they're going to take the time and do what they want, and that's when the phone is going to come out. That's when the texting is going to happen, and that's when talking to other people for entertainment is going to happen. So just kind of see in advance how you can plan so you're keeping the kids busy doing things that are getting them to be provoked in their minds. As you can realize, a lot of it is about planning, preparation, and organization. It makes a difference. Organizing does not just mean having organized spaces. That has a lot to do with it, actually, because how you treat your classroom is going to tell the kids how much structure there is. I think that it's a huge component. But before that, it's your lesson, okay? The kids understand and get a feel for how much prepping and planning you have put into it. And so they'll get that sense from you. My suggestion is to have very good transitions, very good organization, so that way you can have excellent classroom management. This is what I talk a lot about on efficiencyandorganization.com on the website. I have a whole section for educators, so I will have the link to the website that you can visit in the description of the video. Please make sure you subscribe there and also to this channel. It's very important because twice a week I release videos, and they're all very helpful, very useful, and have to do with various aspects of life, including educators. Okay, and the 5th one that I have for you has to do with the guided practice section. So as the kids are working in the classroom, either with pairs or with each other, your job is to keep proximity and go kid by kid. Please don't give all your attention to the one person or 2 people who constantly raise their hands. You want to start in one corner and make your way around to every student. As you're circling the room, just think of it as putting in your steps, getting your exercise in. Think of it that way. That's what I did. I know it's tempting to go sit behind the desk and get other work done because we have so much of it as educators, but we can't do that. We need to keep our proximity, go kid by kid by kid, and just make sure we're seeing what they're doing. Give them help if we see that they're doing something that's not like, maybe they didn't answer a question as well as you thought. Maybe they're missing punctuation marks, capitalization marks. Maybe it's a math problem that they didn't solve correctly, or they're just kind of sitting there not asking you for help. These are things you could pick up on by keeping your proximity, but just make sure that you're going to each student. Be aware of what everyone is doing. I've seen this so often. A teacher would go and stand and is helping a kid. Behind her, behind him, there's naughtiness taking place. You have to stand in a way where you could see everyone, or as you're helping, you could see everyone. You don't want one child to take so much of your attention that you're not seeing all the other things. Rulers, kids hitting each other with rulers possibly, kids throwing things at each other, kids pulling each other's hair, whatever the situation might be. Again, please be sure to subscribe for some more awesome content, and I will catch you in the next video.